Welcome to another episode of Four Collectors. As you can see on the screen, there's only three of us. Myself, John, the 3D80s kid, Theo, Clemente Collector, and Caesar Pepino Man. Hey guys, how we doing?
I'm good, John. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. We do have the unfortunate news to share that we have lost one of our original four collectors. James decided that two channels was too much for him in his current state of life and decided to leave. And we are, left on good terms. We are still planning on using him in collaborations in the future. But let's hear from the man himself. He left us a going away message.
Hey guys, this is James, Elite Hunters. I am here to spread some news. It's bittersweet news, but it has come time to say goodbye for me with Four Collectors. It is nothing negative or, drama filled news. It's just, it's come to a point where I just cannot keep up with two channels putting up content. Um, YouTube is something which I do for fun, and I just can't put up as much I thought I could. And I thought it was fun, this channel with the community, and I love the concept. I couldn't wait to join, but ultimately it's come to a point where reality hit and I just cannot keep up with two channels. So I have come to a point where I gracefully want to bow out because I think maybe another fourth YouTuber would help this channel grow in a way that the other three members, Theo, John, and Caesar, have envisioned. And I wish everyone luck when it comes to this channel. But I have a feeling you're gonna enjoy watching content from this new fourth member. So I'm gonna pass this over to John, Theo, and Caesar and let you guys introduce the new member.
All right. Thanks, James. You will be missed. But Theo, I think it might be time to introduce our new fourth member. What do you think?
Yeah, I love intro music. So let's give him some intro music before he comes in.
Oh my God. That was the big surprise. That was the big surprise.
Coming in for the bullpen.
Oh, that is
All right.
that.
Welcome, Sammy Thunder, to Four Collectors.
Hey guys, thanks so much. It's an honor to be here, and thank you for the awesome entry music. That's probably what I should have been using when I was pitching in high school baseball, because I was a closer, and that's where the whole Sammy Thunder name came from. So very cool.
Yeah, that's
Well, awesome. And with that, I think it's time to see our new channel intro then, huh?
Welcome to Four Collectors.
All right, now it's all official, huh?
Yeah, what's everybody think about? We're going with the 63 card. I wonder if everybody likes it. There's also an alternative card. John, did you have time to put it up?
I have not finished that, putting that one together. That will have to be a later unveiling. So
okay, well, we don't want to give everybody everything at once, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yes, I think the 63 card is great. It has a lot of, obviously the 63 card is a lot more colorful, a lot more vibrant. So I think it kind of holds a different weight compared to some of the other ones.
Yeah. So Sammy, why don't you you've been a guest, or not a guest, you've hosted a couple shows on our channel, the quiz show and things like that. But why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself and your channel?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hello, everybody. My name is Sammy, also known as Sammy Thunder here on the YouTube world. And if you aren't familiar with my channel, a lot of my focus is shifted towards kind of card show and shop explorations, antique shops, antique malls, flea markets. I try to kind of give the first person experience of what it's like to be at the show, seeing what's available, and also connecting with dealers so that I'm able to connect the dealers to viewers that want to look for cards that they want to add to their collection. And additionally, every now and then, some of the other videos that I'll publish are SGC submissions, reveals, and sometimes on occasion I'll do the interviews with other YouTube content creators as well, and just kind of get in their minds as far as what brought them into the hobby. But yeah, that's essentially what my channel is kind of geared towards.
Awesome. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, because I thought it was so cool, is you were a dealer for a long time, and I think it helped you buy some bigger cards in your collection. I saw recently you posted that you're gonna stop dealing for a while. What's the latest with that? You just too much for you right now, or what was your thought process?
Yeah, I think it's funny how things kind of happen and how things formulate. The whole hobby burnout, I think, is is becoming a widespread thing, and I think everybody's catching that bug right now. So for me personally, I just needed to step away. I wanted to kind of have some of those weekends to do other things outside of the hobby. I mean, there's a big difference between going to a show as somebody who just wants to go around and check out the tables versus all the prep work and all the legwork that goes into setting up. I mean, waking up at the crack of dawn and having to load the cases in and just having to go to the shows. It becomes exhausting over time, and I'm sure at some point I'll want to get back into it. But for now, I think this is probably the best move.
Gotcha. Why don't we? The hot topic in the community right now is hobby burnout. I'm sure everybody's seen numerous videos. Mike has cracked me up so bad. He makes a video about hobby burnout, and then I've seen him on about 6 or 7 videos since. I love the guy. It's been hilarious. But I'd love to just Pepino Man's been around the longest as far as continuously collecting. Have you ever reached a point of hobby burnout, Pepino Man? Or what did that look like for you?
No, I've never had hobby burnout as far as the hobby as collecting goes. But on social media, I've had that's why I kind of, a lot of times I think a lot of people get it confused with social media burnout about the hobby. Because I mean, I've seen that before. I've seen it through stages. When Baseball Collector first started the YouTube Hall of Fame, a lot of people had burnout, and a lot of people stopped making content because there were so many people bickering. And
yeah.
But I call it it's more like content burnout. But as far as hobby burnout, I've never had it. I've had content burnout where I kind of just wasn't in the mood to make videos. Like sometimes I want to make videos, but my feelings weren't in it, so I wouldn't make them. But I actually didn't stop collecting. I just kind of stopped making content. But as far as stop collecting, I've never really felt that. I hear Sammy saying he kind of stopping the dealing part, right? But
yeah,
I don't think it's. But yeah, I've never really felt like hobby card collecting burnout.
Okay, that makes perfect sense to me. I think sometimes when somebody makes a hobby burnout video, it's like you said, it's are you burnout from making content, or are you burnout from collecting cards? Because like you said, it feels like it's definitely can be two different things. You know what I mean? Because the person watching the video, we never hear their voice really. You know what I mean? It's content creators that are saying their opinion. So me and John have been on for about the same amount of time. So I don't know how this would really apply much to us, John, but I guess what's your opinions on the topic? Have you ever experienced hobby burnout or content creator burnout, I guess?
Not to this point. I mean, have always just kind of done my videos when I want to make them, which, both of us are new enough that, there's so many things we both probably have on a list. I know I do. I have a list of unmade videos still that, I just haven't had time to make. So, I haven't experienced to this point. I don't ever want to push to where I feel like this is a job. I would never want to be somebody who cranks something out daily.
Right.
Well, obviously I can't because I'm not one of those just press record and then upload folks. That's just not my style. But
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sam, you've been around longer than me and John. Have you, other than the recent with the car dealing, have you had some experiences?
In terms of the burnout, or
Either burnout from making too much content or burning out from collecting, where you stopped collecting for a while.
no, not really. I mean, I've definitely found that I'm not buying as much. I've been, I've always been kind of a stickler about what I want in my collection, and so there was a time where I was buying up a lot of stuff and just compiling stuff, and there's a lot of people that are very just pragmatic about their approach when it comes to buying. So they're not constantly buying up every little thing and compiling stuff. It was a recent conversation I had with Al from Iconic Baseball and how he collects, and he's just has a very fine line of what he wants. That being said, there are times where I'm like today, for example, I went up to a show and I went to a table and I saw that there were cards. There was like a 71 Topps Maze that was going for like 25, $30, and it was in excellent to near mint condition. I mean, it's one of those opportunities. It's like, okay, you gotta take that opportunity when it's there. But other than that, purchasing has been very sparse here and there. So like I'm working out something right now with Orlando with something that he has from his collection. So but we're very patient, very just slowly working.
Nice. Yeah, let's actually transition to that. Since the national, let's just say post national, even though two of you guys weren't at the national, let's just say the time period that it happened after the national, whenever the market started to slowly go downwards. I'd love to hear what collecting's been like for you guys, what your strategy's been. I'll actually kind of go first here. Post national, actually, my budget was humongous at the national compared to what I spend on a yearly basis. So I really slowed down after the national because, like I said, I spent a lot more money than what I typically spend in a year. So I really held back, but I kept looking. I kept an eye out on certain safe searches because I didn't want something to go for a low number that I needed for my Clemente collection. So I've always kept an eye out, but I've been very conservative. And I just made a recent pickup video with what I've got, and it's literally like I've had 6 pickups in the 3-month period, which is pretty low for me compared to prior to the national. So I've been a lot more conservative lately, and also obviously the economy. I have 2 kids, gas prices, everything that goes with it. I got to be careful. Now Christmas is coming up, so I have to be super careful. And then before you know it, I feel like Strongsville's going to get here. I want to go to the Pittsburgh card show, so I don't want to miss any great deals. I'm going to show a card later on that they got it for a great deal, but I got to be careful. One of my strategies is my birthday and Christmas is coming up, so trying to get some eBay gift cards so I can get some pickups from Christmas and my birthday. So, Pepino, man, how have you been buying? I guess since the summer happened, you're not an eBay buyer, so I'm very curious to hear what you've been up to.
Yeah, I only buy cards in person. I don't shop online. So basically, my budget is more or less still the same, but a buck doesn't go as far as it used to. Basically, is all it is.
Yeah.
So say 3 years ago, before the pandemic, blasters are $20. They sit on the shelf for a couple months, and then they're on clearance for $12, $13. You don't really see that anymore. Now blasters are like $35. So say before, if I had $40, I could buy 2 blasters. Now I have $40, I could get a blaster, and that's about it. That's totally the change. So before, so like say with my set completions, I try to complete all the sets by hand through packs only. I don't You know, I try not to buy singles until the very, very end when I'm down to like the last 20 cards. Before, with the same amount of money, basically, I could put together the base set, then collect the update, then collect the chrome, then collect. Now I can't. I can't go after the chrome anymore. I can't go after, you know, the heritage, the archive. I could basically complete my base set with the same amount of money that I used to complete all those other sets with. So
Wow.
the budget is the same, but the quantity that I can get has gone way down. You know what I mean?
So I mean, I know you go to like Frank and Sons to get vintage cards, get singles. So
Yeah.
so like are you still going there? And also when you do go there, what's the inventory look like? Is it about the same as it looked before? Is there less vintage there? Is there more vintage?
There's a lot less vintage and there's a lot less dealers as before, because what happened during the pandemic, Frankenstein's got closed down for like almost a year. So to hold your table, you had to keep paying your rent every month, even though it was closed.
Wow.
So a lot of the modern dealers, I think they kept their tables because they were do it online, and the vintage dealers that were older and didn't really sell online kind of went by the wayside.
Oh, yeah, that's bad for you because that's like your prime spot where you were getting your vintage cards.
Yeah, but kind of luckily, let's say a lot of the card shops, like I think I'm in a different world as far as card collecting goes. Like it's easy for me not to shop online because say before where I would put on baseball card shops near me, you know, 50-mile radius, I'll get like 20 of them. There's like 20 card shops in a 20-mile radius that I could go to.
Wow.
But for the most part, a lot of them were modern.
Yeah.
And since after the pandemic, a lot of people started selling their collections to them. So now a lot of them have vintage. So it's kind of gave me another option now. Like I have been buying a lot of vintage from card shops now, when before they really didn't have that big of a choice.
Yeah. I was watching a Chasing Cardboard episode where he went to like, I want to say 10 card shops in one day, and it was in the Kansas City area. And that was the biggest thing that stood out to me is how many card shops were Pokemon and modern cards. Like the vintage was maybe, I don't know, like 3 out of the 10 shops, like legit, like vintage, you know, not just a couple cards. So yeah, I would say you got to do your research. Like you said, you just walk into a shop, you might waste your time. So,
but that's kind of a cool thing. I remember I was looking for a card, and the card shop, when I first moved right here to my new house, like this is already like 5 years ago. But when I first moved to this house, I went to the card shop and they had a Ken Griffey Jr. autograph that I really wanted, but I had to wait till my next paycheck to get it. And then out of curiosity, while I was working a game at Dodger Stadium, and I got my check, I looked up the card shop to see their hours. I said, hopefully I can make it tomorrow after work. I looked at their hours. They were open till 2 a.m. in the morning. Wow. Because they have Pokemon and Magic tournaments till like 2 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. So I got out of Dodger Stadium at 11:30. I was able to go straight there, and I got there like at 12:30 at night and bought the card I wanted.
That's pretty cool. So let's go to John real quick. So John, since the National, how have you been collecting?
As far as baseball, I haven't. So it was kind of watching what people were doing at the National. I came up with formed the idea that I wanted to save my budget and buy something really big next year when I go to my first National. And I've set it up where my standard budget ends up depositing into a savings account automatically for me. And my plan is to purchase a Babe Ruth card. So,
that's a big boy card.
Yeah, and I've never really liked the Sanella. I'm not big on having the oversized slabs, so I'm actually going for a 1920 W519 strip card that is close in shot of his head with a nice blue background. The unnumbered variety would be the more plentiful, cheaper version. Which, when I say cheaper, I'm expecting it to be somewhere in the vicinity of 22 to 2,500 or so that I'll end up spending for this. So,
Wow.
I thought
Um,
maybe you might put in a bid for that new Babe Ruth rookie card that was that's being put into SGC. I'm sure you've heard about that.
yeah, that's just slightly out of my price range there. So
And John,
just by a few digits. So.
you know, John loves rookie cards.
Yeah,
maybe we can
absolutely.
all budget together and we could share the card. 3 months out of the year, we just rotate it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think most of the community would have to pitch in together to buy something like that, other than a
Yeah.
few people.
You might
So.
you might have to open up an OnlyFans.
Oh God, Jesus!
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work for me. So,
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disrupt.
Yeah.
But the strip card is what you're after, though. You said the blue one.
yeah, the one with the blue background where it's
Yeah.
kind of a close up shot with a smiling face. But
It's a solid one.
John,
yeah, I really like that one, and I'm talking authentic, because anything with a number grade goes for more than that. So, and half of them or more that exist are authentic anyway. So,
Yeah.
because most of them end up being min size, but so. It's been different this year, because I've still kept to the same. Well, backtrack on the topic of card stores around me. This is a Portland Blazer town, and the shops are mostly modern basketball. If there is a vintage case of baseball cards, there might be one, maybe two in the store, and it's just like typically 50s, 60s, 70s tops cards. So,
And real quick,
um,
sorry to butt in.
yeah,
That's one thing I gotta add about the baseball card shops. They for the most part they deal with modern cards and they love modern cards. And when they get these collections of vintage that they buy, they normally sell them cheap. I could because they don't care about them as much. They don't care too much about Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays. They're more on board with Julio Rodriguez, or what I mean.
Well, now they're gonna
All the
care.
modern guys. So the last couple of Mickey Mantle cards that I bought them on the cheap, because they buy them in collections for cheap. They buy the entire collections that people are coming in and selling them.
Well,
So that's
Pepino,
kind
man,
of a
you're giving away the
plus.
secrets.
Well, see, that's why I say, like, a lot of times when people talk about eBay prices and they talk about some cards, I said, like, the card shops are cheaper than eBay by far as I can see personally. But that might not be the case everywhere.
yeah,
That
I
seems
haven't
to
had
be
that experience with what is actually in the cases at my shops at all. So,
I have I do have a small story, Pepino man. I was at the Pittsburgh card show, and a modern dealer had boxes everywhere, and it was the first day, and I'm like it looks like you're just modern, correct? And he goes, oh, I just bought a box of vintage from somebody. I haven't even gone through it yet. I don't know anything about vintage. My brain,
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
oh no, I'm like, this could be awesome. And then I get over there, and it's like all like higher 70s cards. Like I did find 6 cards, and he gave them to me for $1 each, but nothing like. But that's the situation, like you said, you would only see at a shop or a show. You can't go on eBay and go, oh, let me find a modern guy who just bought a collection. It doesn't. There's no such thing. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you said, you kind of have to get out there to get in these situations where you can actually get these great deals. So,
yeah, and so yeah, I'm stuck to mostly eBay is what I've historically done, and so now this year when I'm not actually buying, I am still doing the same thing I was, as far as putting cards on my watch list that I would be interested in, just so I can see what they end up selling for and not be completely out of what the state of the market is by the time I am possibly buying again. So I kind of still have the same routines of checking through watch lists and adding cards and stuff, but I just don't put winning bids on them. So
Yeah, I guess that's one thing I was going to ask you about, because I know Satchel Paige is high on your list. I don't know if it's the second. I don't know if that's the next target for you or Jack. I know Jackie Robinson also. You ever like you said? Do you ever get concerned that what if a Satchel Paige sold for, I don't know, 75% of what it normally sells for, and it's an authentic, and like do you worry about that at all? But you're just kind of hell bent on the Babe Ruth right now.
there's only so much I am willing to track, and I don't want to divert from this current mission
Okay.
because that would pull too much budget for
Yeah.
like a 53 tops satchel
Right.
for what I want to accomplish.
Okay.
So, I mean, I
Since you're
kind of
talking
view that
about,
one as it's a really plentiful card compared to what I'm even going for, because I'm saying this is, a more plentiful Ruth, but that means there's like 40 something of them that are authentics.
Well, that's
So,
kind of. I'm going to let Pepino Man go in a second, but that's kind of my concern for you, John. Is you go to the National with a big bankroll and the card just isn't there, and that's my concern for you. I know you'd be fine being patient. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Of the National is the biggest show, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a card that has 40 pop count is going to be for sale. You know what I mean? But Pepino
yeah,
Man, what was your point?
well, it wasn't so much a point, but I was going to tell you a story, because prices have jumped dramatically. If just say from, I think this is going back 7 years, 5 years, but the equipment manager at Dodger Stadium over there by the Dodgers clubhouse, he had his baseball cards in a case, right? He had all the Babe Ruth cards. He had like a magnificent, I'm talking about magnificent, all PSA graded, all the Ruth cards like Willie Mays and all this. And visiting players, Jake Arrieta, Verlander. There's a Arroyo, that one guy with the long hair that was on the Padres. I forgot, he's on the Phillies now or something. That guy with the long hair he does YouTube videos. All these guys started buying all the cards from him. This is like 5 years ago before the pandemic, and he sold all of them. And back then, say they were $5,000 cards, which to me was like, wow, that's a lot. Man, those cards have like quadruple, 10 times full what they used to be worth. I always wonder if he knows that, like, because he said, I don't collect baseball cards anymore, and he sold them all. But all the Major League Baseball players bought all his cards like in 1 year.
That's pretty cool. That's crazy though. Yeah, go ahead, Sammy.
Sorry, I just wanted to mention to kind of go back to what you were saying, John, is that sometimes there's like certain cards that you're looking for at the National, and your best resource is the community itself. And sometimes you can find someone in the community that I mean, obviously don't know personally so well, but through communication, through just from being in the community. So to kind of give you an example of like the 53 satchel, instead of buying it at the National where you're probably going to pay a hiked up price, you buy it from somebody that's maybe willing to move it. So like, for example, I have a 53 satchel that I'm thinking that I'm probably going to end up moving at some point. And what better resource than to buy it directly through another content creator than instead of doing it through a dealer.
sure.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting point. Like anytime you're ready to pull the trigger and you have a big budget, we're already on YouTube. Let everybody know. Let the text groups know. I know Matt's on Net 54, things like that. There's different channels that I know. I'm not plugged into Twitter. Like I don't know any of the card guys on there, but I know some guys who are. You know what I mean? So it's a great point of it's not always it's sometimes who not
Yeah, like say B Roth 6, like he's a great source because he goes out there hunting collections, and he'll buy like collections for dirt cheap, so he can sell individual cards a lot cheaper than you'll find them at shows where they got to pay for a table and they got to pay for the space and the time and everything.
Well, that's why I bought it's funny. I bought the satchel from him, the 53 satchel. And so at the time, I'm like, oh, I'll add it to the collection. But now I'm, just probably like a lot of other people, just trying to streamline what my collection, what I want it to be. And I'm not the world's biggest satchel collector. And so I figured, if somebody's looking for it, at the very least, I would just want to get back what I paid for it. Because,
it's kind of a story though, right? Like, it's kind of one of those things where you want to buy your dream card at the dream show. You know what I mean? It kind of goes together.
That's
it doesn't have to be that way.
No. But I think you could do both. I think, if I think everybody strategizes when they go to when they plan on going to the national. And so, like, for example, like John, I hope you don't mind me using your example here, but going for the Babe Ruth strip card, you're going to be more likely to find that through a dealer rather than through a content creator. Probably only because the content creator may not, if they have one, they probably don't want to move it. But like a more common card that you could probably find more regularly, you can kind of do both, where you find the rare card through a dealer and then you find the common card. When I say common, I mean a more regularly available star card. You would find that through maybe, okay, well, I'll spend this much with the dealer and I'll try to see if I can work out a better deal. Instead of paying $500 for a satchel, I'll pay $300 or $350 or whatever, if it's like a poor condition one, for example. So that's but you're right though, Pepino. That's there is something about being at the National and buying your dream card. That's definitely true.
Yeah, I see. My big thing going into the National was I want to get all these Clemente cards already graded SGC. Like I know they're going to be there. It's a National, and then I go table to table. Oh, this one's raw. This one's PSA. This one's raw. And then I kind of got to the point where I kind of saw what was out there, and I'm like, all right, I need to be flexible here. I bought 3 different Clemente things that were raw that I normally would think just buy these graded already, don't take any risks. And I was willing to look at raw prices and, as long as the comp made sense, because SGC was on site and I subbed them immediately. But yeah, you kind of have this assumption, oh, this card's going to be there already graded exactly how I wanted it. It's, you know what I mean? It's just, some of these oddball cards, it's not the case. So.
Yeah, that's what you're after. You're going to have to expand your horizons a little bit because, but the good thing is, like, I know for you have your set group of dealers that you pinpoint to, like Howard or Stan or like I forgot there was a third guy that a lot of the content creators kind of gravitate to, but because those are the guys that have that stuff that you're looking for. So what
I wanted to bring up is, Sammy, you kind of pivoted to Christy Matheson. I wanted to hear a little bit about that. What made you pivot to kind of being a player collector for him, and I don't know if you have him within your arm's length. Maybe show some of the stuff you bought.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet. Yeah. So Christy Matheson, obviously, one of the original members of the Hall of Fame that got that pretty much went in first. That being said, the Christy Matheson, I've always been like a New York Giants collector. My grandfather watched them at the Polo Grounds, and I want to say my great-grandfather got a chance to see Matheson when he was a kid at the Polo Grounds.
Wow.
Despite living in Brooklyn. So anyway, I love the stories behind Matheson. He was a pitcher that had a lot of integrity, and he was just a straight shooter when it came to his playing style and his personality. And so just the stories surrounding him, and also so like the most recent pickup of mine that was the Venezuelan. See if I can get this showing better. Yeah, wow. The Venezuelan Mathewson here. That's part of that complete set. And what makes this one really special
Can we see the back?
is, yeah, the back. That's the key thing, is that the backs were generally suffered a lot of paper loss, and this one
Yeah.
amazingly did not suffer. It suffered staining, but that's normal. And so, yeah, I picked this one up off of a Facebook, one of the
Does
Facebook
it
groups.
say retirado on the bottom?
Yeah, it does. Yep.
That's cool.
So it, that's it's the reason why, and I was very much inspired by what everybody was doing at the National. And Theo, you're in this as well. Is, I was going around picking up a lot of the traditional stuff, which, for the record, I don't hold any grudges against anybody that does that. I mean, I still do it. And finding a lot of the commons, like the 55 Clemente, I picked one up there, and the 52 Mays, I picked one up, but I was inspired by what everyone else is doing, which is picking up a lot of rare oddball stuff. And I thought that's really unique, because there's only so much of that stuff that's out there. And I think a lot, the general population of collectors probably or largely ignore that stuff and really just want to get their hands on the 55 Clemente, 55 Koufax. And again, that's not to say it's not wrong to go that route.
Right.
It's a personal preference, but I was definitely very much inspired by some of the unique stuff that people were picking up, like the 64 stand-up tops Clemente. I think you picked one up there, Theo.
Yeah. Me and Matt bought one.
And it's a beautiful looking card. I mean, the yellow and the green, and the way that to have something like that is just really, really cool. And again, I remember going to one of the bigger regional shows in New York, and it was Stan was the only one that had the 64 stand-up Maze, and I picked one up off him. So
I love that card. I thought it was great. And you got it on SGC now, and I'm kind of in the camp that the oddball stuff's actually cheaper than it should be. Most people would be like, "Oh, that $300 and it's a Jello card." Like, well, there's only 40 of these, so it actually should be like $1,000. Like, I'm actually in the camp that this stuff's actually lower than it should be right now. But I do understand I don't know if the right word's audience or the collector base needs to build up to it being in more demand. So it is what it is. But I made a video just recently where this is a Topps Venezuelan. So this is the only Pirates team card with Clemente on it. And I had one other Venezuelan card, and now I have this one. And this is one of those things, like I said, is I have a saved search for Clemente Venezuelan, and this ended up going at auction for $50. And the comps on it is over $200.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, like
it's ignored.
Yeah, I mean, if I had the mindset of, it's going to go for 200, I'm not even going to bid. Like, you know what I mean? I would have never got it. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. Just like you said, the backs are one thing you have to look at, because they were in scrapbooks. So it's pretty rare that they don't have paper loss. So yeah. Pepino, man, do you have any Bennies in your collection or a Peaches?
No, I don't have any Venezuelan cards. I'll tell you one card I do have that I do love that's not like a common card is this Mickey Mantle that I've had since I was a kid, that you find in the price guides. The price guides used to come with cards. So this is a Mickey in the 69 design, which this was never actually a card. But I was a kid when I got this, and I've had this in this case. I used to have it in what's it called? My headboard of my bed. And then when me and my wife got an apartment, this was in my living room. So like I've literally been displaying it since I got it. You know what I mean? And
wow. Was that Beckett, or you're not sure which?
I think it was Price Guide. It's just called Price Guide.
Do the grading companies grade those?
I have no idea whatsoever.
What year is that from? Like Price Guide?
I don't even know, because the back of it has my Willie McGee rookie card that I've had in the back since then.
Are you
So
serious?
I don't want to open it up and look.
What?
I
Is it-
kind of
Oh
like
my
the
God.
I kind of like the fact that this has been in this case since since the first day I put it in, and I've had it on display. I mean, the
Wow.
fact that my wife let me have it in the living room like forever was just great.
That's a cool. That's way better than the picture they use. I feel like for the 69
Oh yeah,
card.
yeah, he was at the end of his career.
Yeah, that's
Well,
cool.
literally.
Wow, I can't believe. Is that a screw down or is that magnetic?
It's a screw down, but it's plastic screws.
Okay, interesting.
But it had that piece of cardboard is the thickness of these two cards, so it's not
Oh.
getting
Yeah,
squeezed.
it's not getting damaged.
Yeah.
So John, I don't think you have any Opeaches or Venezuelan. So what turns you on as far as the non-traditional type of cards? What do you like?
As far as non-traditional, the only thing I could say there would be what I've been doing with non-sport vintage. But
Yeah, I mean, you probably feel similar. You probably find some cards that like are low pop, and you're like, why is this rookie card of this president so low or whatever?
yeah, the most expensive of my World War II rookies was that FDR U.S. Carmel card there, which
And how readily available are those?
not highly. I think this one is population wise somewhere around 60 something, at least graded. I imagine the people that have this, a lot of cases are ungraded that are doing non-sport. It's
Yeah,
much less of a thing for people to grade them, but uh, the
the back's nice. Wow.
yeah, this one is written out to where it was just when he was first elected president. They say on the slab 1932, but it has to be 33 because it talks about his inauguration,
No,
which is 33. So in January.
nice.
So,
I like the red. It kind of reminds me of a Cracker Jack card a little bit.
yeah, I know. Was it Doug? Don't Talk to Robots had that Red October, but I had this one out for grading when he was doing that, so I missed out on showing that one. But
Makes me wonder if any of those are autographed. If FDR ever signed any one of
Wow,
those.
yeah, good point.
yeah, I haven't seen any of the president cards autographed, at least on eBay.
I wonder how easily approachable the presidents are to get an autograph from him, with the card.
It seems like a tough call. I don't imagine they do TTM.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah,
But,
we better wrap up here. We're already at 43 minutes, but man, it's really cool. We got Sammy on board. It's really cool that he was already making content on the channel. The cool part about Sammy is when we made the channel, he actually reached out to us immediately and said he wanted to be a part of it, however he could be a part of it. And that's where we came up with putting him on some lives for the quiz show. So, that's really cool. And I'm going to repeat something that we've said a lot. This channel is for collectors and to bring some light to some collectors' channels that maybe aren't getting the light that they deserve. So, if you want to be like Sammy, where you reach out to one of us and you want to be on a live stream or you want to make some type of content for the channel, we're open to listen. So I think the only way this channel is going to grow bigger is if us four aren't the only ones making the content. So and the other thing is we would love in the comments, I think we're about to hit 3 months. The channel's been on for about 3 months. I'd love to hear what shows you guys really like. Maybe what shows you guys maybe give us some feedback. I mean, I could take it. I'd love to hear the stuff you guys love to watch so we could maybe make more of that. But it's been fun so far. I really appreciate everybody's hard work so far.
And circling again on anybody that wants to contact us, if you don't have our pre-existing contact information, we do have an email address that I monitor at 4collectors@yahoo.com, and that is spelled out FOURCOLLECTORS @yahoo.com. So feel free to reach out.
Exactly. Well, I think we can wrap up here. Why don't we, since we have the new intro, why don't we do an outro with it, and then we can end the stream. I want to see that card again. Thanks
Sounds
everybody.
good to me. All
Thanks.
right.
Thanks
The
everybody
Steve
for
Gakowski
watching.
rookie. One of my favorite cards.
Thanks everybody, and welcome Sammy, your first official video on as a channel member.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, here we go.
Welcome to For Collectors.